Hello, and welcome to Whimsy Haven, where little breaths find big dreams. Let's drift into today's sleep story together. Please remember to like and subscribe. While you listen, you can close your eyes, rest your body, and let your imagination do the traveling. Let's begin with tonight's bedtime story. The nighttime parade at Starling Castle. Once upon a time, when noon the sunlight made the lake look like a bowl of warm milk, Starling Castle prepared for its most beloved tradition, the Naptime parade. Every day after lunch, the castle slowed itself on purpose. Flags drooped into silky ribbons. Fountains switched from sparkle to shh. Even the clock tower softened its chimes, trading clangs for gentle gong. Gone, gone. And from the front gate to the lavender fields, a quiet procession floated through the grounds, guiding everyone. Stable hands, kitchen helpers, princes and bakers and gardeners, toward their cozy hour of rest. Princess Mira had been chosen to lead this year's spring parade. She was small for her age, with bright, steady eyes that noticed everything. How bread sings when it cools. How bees draw tiny figure eights over thyme flowers. How her little dragon friend Pippin's smoke smelled faintly of vanilla when he was pleased. She loved noticing. What she didn't love was being the center of anything. The idea of walking in front, even for something as soothing as a nap parade, made her stomach flutter like a basket of moths. "You'll be perfect," said Auntie Celine, the royal baker, dusting Mira's nose with flour as if it were a blessing. "You know how to make a castle feel calm." Theo, the stable boy with straw in his hair, and a calm patience that horses trusted, nodded. "You don't have to be loud to lead," he said. "You just have to be steady." Mira smiled, but the moths still fluttered. What if I forget the steps? What if I sneeze? What if the children laugh? A soft trill answered from the window. A nightingale, lark, tilted her head, bright-eyed. Pippin, the dragonlet no bigger than a loaf of bread, coiled around Mira's shoulders like a warm scarf, and blew a tiny puff of lavender smoke. Mira closed her eyes and practiced the breath the court musician had taught her. "In 4, out 6, she whispered. She counted. In 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The moths settled, landing politely on the rim of her belly like they meant to sit still. Starling Castle stirred for the ceremony. Juniper the page, who moved like sunlight on water, darted in with a basket of ribbon wands. "Everyone has their place," she chirped. "Pillows up front, bells at the end. Mira, you'll begin with the hush steps down the western stair." Mira peeked into the basket. The ribbons, moon-white, honey-gold, moss-green, looked like captured pieces of afternoon. "Hush steps," she repeated. "I can do that." They dressed for quiet glory. Soft shoes, linen sashes, pockets full of tiny star confetti made from scrap paper in the scriptorium. Auntie Celine wrapped a blue sash around Mira's waist and tucked a sprig of rosemary behind her ear. "For courage," she said, "and for good bread dreams." When the castle clock kissed the top of the hour, the gates opened. Warm air drifted in, carrying the scents of cut grass and lake water and just-baked lemon cakes. Children lined the walk with their grandparents. Gardeners leaned on rakes, smiling with sun-pink cheeks. Beyond the hedges, the sheep lay in polka-dot shade, already practicing napping. Mira placed one hand over her belly, the other on Pippin's tiny back. In 4, out 6, she reminded them both. Then she stepped forward. The Naptime parade began like a lullaby you already knew from your oldest dreams. Mira's hush steps were simple but beautiful. Heel-toe, pause, heel-toe, pause, the way waves touch shore and leave again. Theo walked behind, leading 2 ponies with panniers of soft blankets. Auntie Celine followed, balancing a tray of warm, sliced peaches, sprinkled with sugar and mint. Just 1 slice each. A sweet hello to sleep. Juniper flitted along the edges, handing ribbon wands to children who traced figure 8s in the air. Lark rode the current of quiet above them all, threading notes as fine as silk into the warm afternoon. Mira discovered that leading didn't feel like everyone looking at her. It felt like everyone breathing with her. When she took her long out-breath, shoulders dropped around the courtyard, as if 100 invisible knots were being untied at once. She smiled, small but real. They reached the willow walk, where wind braided through branches and made soft brushes of sound, and there, trouble. Overnight, a playful gust had made a cat's cradle of the willow threads and the bell ribbons that hung between them. The path for the parade had turned into a loose, shimmery web. Juniper stopped short. Oh, the bell streamers, they're tangled. A child whispered, "Will the parade be cancelled?" Auntie Celine frowned gently at the ribbons. "We could go around the long way," she said, "but the sheep are there. And they're already almost dreaming." Mira felt that basket of moths wake again. Everyone would look to her now, not for steps, but for an answer. Pippin tightened his coil around her shoulders and made an encouraging chirp. Theo gave her a steady nod. Mira touched the ribbons. They were cool and smooth from shade, smelling faintly of rain. "We'll do it the Nap way," she said, surprising herself with how calm her voice sounded. Slow, breath by breath. She divided the group like the baker divides dough, gently, and for a purpose. "Theo, will you hold this end so nothing pulls? Juniper, can you stand by the willow and follow each ribbon with your eyes? Auntie Celine, could you keep the little ones busy with breath games?" Auntie Celine shuffled peaches into small napkins and began a quiet game. When Mira breathes in, raise your ribbon wand. When she breathes out, lower it to your lap, she said. Lark, as if understanding, landed on a ribbon and added a thread of song. Mira inhaled. The children's wands drifted up. She exhaled. The wands sank like leaves returning to water. Everything answered her breath. The whole courtyard became a lung. She found the first knot, a looped-over under-twice situation, and loosened it with patient fingers. In, 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The ribbon slipped free like it had just been waiting to be asked kindly. Another knot. This one silly. 2 ribbons that had decided to be friends and were not ready to let go. "We'll make a bow instead," Mira murmured, and tied them into an easy loop that would ring the bells more softly. Theo steadied her when she stretched. Juniper sang the colors as Mira separated them. Honey gold with honey gold, moss green with moss green, moon white with moon white. Pippin contributed in the way only a baby dragon can. He puffed the tiniest breath of warm vanilla toward a stubborn twist, not fire, but a little humidity, and the silk relaxed. "Good dragon," Mira said. He rumbled, proud as a teapot. Soon the tangle wasn't a tangle anymore. It was a curtain of light, ready to lift, Mira looked up to find half the castle holding their breaths with her. She smiled and lifted her hand. One last time together. In 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They breathed, and the ribbons rose and fell like meadow grass in a breeze. Bells whispered. The web opened. The parade glided forward into the willow shade, through the bell curtain, out to the lavender edge of the lawn. Mira heard a small clap, just one pair of hands from somewhere, and then the sound dissolved into something better. That warm, dear sigh crowds make when a moment has gone just right. Theo leaned over. You see? Steady is enough. It was all of us, Mira said, and she meant it. At the lavender beds, the parade paused. By tradition, each person chose a sprig, touched it to their heart, and tucked it into a pocket or sleeve. The scent lifted softly, clean and sweet. Auntie Celine offered everyone a peach slice and a sip of cool water. Lark settled on the rim of the fountain and fluttered her wings, throwing diamonds of sun across drowsy faces. Ribbons dangled from small wrists. Blankets unfurled in the grass like clouds landing. Mira could have ended it there, and everyone would have been content. But she felt a playful courage sparking. One last thing, she called softly, and the last thing traveled like a ripple. The sharing of pillows. It was a game she and Theo had invented in the stables on rainy days. Each person placed their pillow at their back for a moment of perfect sitting, then passed it gently to the person beside them, accepting the next pillow in turn. The circle became a wave of comfort. Give, receive, give, receive, until all the pillows had been shared once around and returned to their owners warmed by kindness. The gardener's hands, rough with fieldwork, handled the satin as carefully as eggs. The children, solemn with the importance of quiet, passed theirs with 2 hands and a bow. Even the castle cats participated, walking through the line like floaty commas, pausing now and then to accept scratches. Thank you, Mira said to no one, and to everyone. Juniper placed a ribbon wand in Mira's lap, a moon-white one. For the leader who makes room. I wasn't the only leader, Mira answered, glancing at Theo, Auntie Celine, Juniper, Lark, and Pippin. We were a braid. They settled then, each to a chosen patch of sun or shade. Theo sprawled with his hat over his eyes. Auntie Celine leaned against a basket, with a smile that meant she was already dreaming of recipes. Juniper curled like a cat in the dappled gold. Lark tucked her head under a wing. Pippin spiraled into Mira's elbow like a soft seashell, puffing contentment. Mira lay back on her pillow. The sky above Starling Castle had the precise blue of a cornflower. Bees drew their tiny maps over time and returned home unbothered. The lake made a sound like silk smoothing. Somewhere, sheep bells chimed in an order that made no hurry at all. She thought of the knot and how it had loosened when everyone helped, of the breath the whole castle had shared without even speaking, of the feeling that leadership could be as simple as noticing the rhythm and inviting others to sway with you. Her eyelids drifted. Behind them, she could still see bits of color, moonwhite, honey gold, moss green, moving like friendly fish. The moths inside her belly had chosen a branch and gone to sleep. Before the last bit of wakefulness floated away, Mira whispered her good nights, because that was part of the tradition too. Good night, willow bells, she murmured, for remembering how to open. Good night, Lavender, she added, for teaching us to keep our sweetness, even when the day is busy. Her voice softened to the hush of a page turning. Good night, friends. Juniper and Theo, and Auntie Celine, and Lark and Pippin, for making a braid of quiet. The castle answered the way old places do, timbers settling, fountains sighing, flags barely breathing. Somewhere, Auntie Celine rolled over and sighed, peaches, in her sleep. Theo's hat slipped to the grass, and Pippin claimed it as a nest. Juniper's ribbon wand clicked once against a stone, then rested, and there, beneath the kind shadow of Starling Castle, the Naptime parade ended the way all perfect parades should, with everyone exactly where they needed to be, pillowed, peaceful, and held by the same gentle rhythm. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you listened very closely, you could hear the whole kingdom breathing along. The end.